Decline in morality in the Philippines. The Philippines was always known as the last bastion of innocence, where old-fashioned family values still thrived and were the norm. It was the home of the virginal young lady waiting for Mr. Right. Is there a decline in morality in the Philippines? If so, what happened? Australian men, like myself in years past, were often jaded by the feminism divorce culture that exists in Australia and headed to the Philippines looking for a future wife who still believed in the concepts and practice of lifelong marriage. We found sweet romantic girls, most of whom were virgins or perhaps had one previous partner who had let them down. They believed in being courted with the intention of marriage. Many still dated with chaperones, believe it or not. And going out dancing, that meant dancing with female cousins at the Barangay Fiesta only, no going to discos or nightclubs. Well, it isn't all bad. Things have definitely changed in the last 5 to 10 years. Now, you may or may not agree with me, but I hope you can at least see my motivation and that is whether the changes are making people, especially young people, actually happy or not. Morality changes in the Philippines post-internet. Now, I first came to the Philippines in the 90s. This was the letter-writing era, where the girl may have a neighbour who, with a telephone, a landline, where she could call you collect on. Internet cafes started appearing in the late 90s. They cost 25 to 35 pesos an hour. Connections were slow, but it meant an Australian Filipino couple could send some emails maybe a few times a week. But there was no Facebook and or dating sites or anything, and little exposure to popular culture and different morality from the big wide world out there. These were the days when, a girl would actually ask questions like, is Australia near Canada? As for knowledge of, what we'll call, to be diplomatic, we'll call non-Filipino morality, I had a college-educated cousin of a former girlfriend ask me, is it true that people in England have sex in the streets? Because she had a boyfriend from the UK and she was actually worried about that. Thus was the naivety. Now, no one was particularly dull or prudish, but there was like a G-rated naive innocence prevailing that was rather charming. And post-internet, this seems to be where the changes started from my observation anyway. It became possible to use Yahoo and other sites to meet up with people from other countries. Social media platforms like Friendster and MySpace became quite popular here. Nowadays there are cheap phone plans that include free access to Facebook. I believe there are actually pick-up sites out there for those who literally only want a casual fling. And this has coincided with the availability of cheap smartphones with easy Facebooking abilities and the ability to take and send both photos and videos. What all this meant was that the young internet users and phone users saw that there were other views and other attitudes and other versions or interpretations of morality out there. The belief has long been that everything is better overseas, particularly in the US. And that meant the tendency was to follow what they saw and heard. Therefore, who became the authority sources in questions of what was wrong or right? Miley Cyrus and Ariana Grande rather than parents and teachers. Now, Miley can swing naked on her wrecking ball for all to see, and Justin Bieber can show off his naked buttocks, and that's all okay apparently. But this is a nation where girls normally don't even wear bikinis to go swimming. They wear shorts and t-shirts because they're modest. Morality in the Philippines today. Okay, maybe some of you are thinking I'm some sort of boring old fuddy-duddy killjoy by now, but nothing could actually be further from the truth. Yes, I'm definitely old-fashioned, and yes, I believe in marriage, and I believe that those who marry the person who truly loves and respects them and shares something with them that they've shared with nobody else is actually very fortunate. They've lost nothing and they've missed out on absolutely no special happiness at all. In fact, they've gained a happiness from that partying and multiple partners will never give them. Unfortunately, it's hard as a parent to give advice that's contrary to what the latest horde of beautiful people are saying and doing, despite the fact that you actually want them to lead a great life with a fun that isn't destructive and hurtful. Teenage boys will always lie about being in love and will always use girls for their shallow satisfaction if the girls let them. And there is a universal dislike of condoms here, so they simply won't use them. Apparently the story is they say they're too expensive, which is rubbish. They're readily available and they're cheap, but they just don't want to use them because they don't care. And what that leads to is sexually transmitted diseases and single mothers, of course. Now, the law here doesn't force boys to support their children, so lives tend to be turned upside down very easily and quickly. And not much fun happening when all this happens, is there? So is there an answer? No simple answer that I know of. As parents, please try to be aware of this tendency and what's happening and try to give your kids good advice and guidance. As fathers, try to let your daughters know that they are loved unconditionally so they won't be quite so vulnerable in that area. And don't be scared to have a few rules. And in general, be aware of the changes that are taking place and make your own decisions accordingly. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it and you would like to subscribe, you can click on the little button down the bottom corner there and you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. There are regular articles on aspects of Australian visas to the Philippines on www.downundervisa.com.au. There's a blog page you can subscribe to. There is a free visa assessment form, and there are regular articles on aspects of Australian-Filipino relationships, which you can see on www.FilipinaWives.com.au. If you can please share these articles and these videos on any of the social media that you use, we would appreciate that. Thank you.